What's up, guys? Time for Fighters Pass 1 characters. And these are all the characters where the devs were like, hey, let's make balanced characters that are pretty fun. Except for Joker, that one's not balanced. Starting off, we got Piranha Plant. Now this is a character who's kind of funny, where his main tool in neutral is supposed to be this, but like, this move has a huge weakness. You can just run him if you see him doing this. Has like a lot of end lag if he tries canceling immediately like that. It doesn't recover in front of him that well, you see it as a huge blind spot. If he charges this especially, like it goes very far but it's not covering close up at all. And you can basically, when you see him doing this, just kind of run straight at him. Some characters run a bit preemptively and that's kind of annoying. And you don't want to block this. If you're forced to like deal with this move, try to jump away from it, because if you block it, the shield pressure from this move is insane. Like he actually will just break shields super easily if you have to block this move. Like, look at that damage, right? That was embarrassing. Anyway, that's like the big thing when fighting him. First of all, let me just say with Joker, that it's hard to give great advice for this character because this character is really just solid everywhere. There isn't like any particularly big weakness in this character's kit. But with that said, when you are fighting him, it's important to avoid taking chip damage as much as possible. Because like Joker players want to just kind of do this to you and get like that free damage going. And they kind of want to stall the game out until they get Arsene, and whatever damage they get before Arsene is like bonus damage, right? But if you're avoiding the chip damage, a lot of Joker players will get impatient and start doing things like running up and grabbing and dash attacking. If they're not doing that, you want to basically inch your way forward towards him, because he also doesn't have the best like out of shield options. He's not the best in the corner. His boxing tools aren't that strong, so he's trying to like basically play with punish and zoning. So by just recognizing that and not getting too frustrated and not swinging poorly, he isn't gonna rack up that much damage, and then you can just destroy him up close. And then when he has Arsene, of course, you have to make him approach you. Oh my god, there's so many sirens outside today. You done? Anyway, back to this. When he has Arsene, you have to make him approach you, because he's not getting enough damage if he's chipping you out with like guns to make it worth. Like, don't get me wrong, like this is still nice, this damage. And like if he hits like a side B on you, that's some juicy damage. But like, unless he's getting side B, like he's not getting a lot of damage from far range, and he's not exploiting Arsene because he wants to get kills with Arsene, right? So recognize he has to approach you, make him work for it, because the fact that even with Arsene, like his actual range is okay. Like he's still more of a whiff punch based character. Like this move gets that range by a lot of stuff. This move, it's solid, but it doesn't like cover the air though unless he angles it upwards. So really exploit that. Make him have to fight into your spacing, make it hard for him to get openings, make him have to approach you, which generally isn't good in ultimate, because most of the time playing defense is better. And you can kind of weather the storm until Arsene is gone. And if you can survive like his basically one guaranteed Arsene per stock, the games get a lot easier versus him. Alright, when it comes to fighting a hero, a big part of fighting a hero is just baiting him into blowing his mana. Like baiting him into like bad side Bs, bad neutral Bs, baiting him into wanting to use down B on things that aren't buffs, right? Because if a hero sees like Kakrako and Oomph, but you're running in his face, he's likely going to want to crackle you unless you've shown you're not going to like actually fight him. And that's going to be a mana burn. Because once he doesn't have mana, he's a much weaker character. And once he can't get buffs out, he's a much weaker character. But hero players really want to get buffs out, so they really want you to like hesitate to do anything so they have that room. Or they want you to just run straight up into his attacks. Also, try not to jump too much versus this character. He is extremely good at air-to-air game and anti-air game. Like up tilt's insane. Forward air and back air, and even nair are insane. Forward smash is a great way to punish, you getting way too crazy with the jump-ins. And then like add in like spells to cover your jump-ins, and really, he covers the jump game super well. Oh my god, another siren! But yeah, with that said, he like doesn't cut, like he has safe pressure tools from the air, but he doesn't cover people like playing a smart grounded approach game nearly as well, because he's forced to burn mana on that, or he's forced to like jump, and he is slow in the air, he has laggy attacks. And then his ground spacing tools aren't that great. Like the closest thing to decent one is down tilt maybe? Which isn't that much range, he extends his body. He does low profile though. And like maybe jab, but like jab and like forward tilt are both kind of like committal tools on the ground. There's one simple trick where Banjos hate fighting you. Or make Banjos hate fighting you. And that is grabbing his grenade and using it against him. Because when you use his grenade, he has so much lag. Look how much lag this is, right? Like I'm in so much lag compared to the opponent when I pull out a grenade. So, when you're fighting him, either he's going to be pulling up grenades towards you, which you can fully take advantage of by picking them up. You know this is an issue for a lot of characters, right? a lot of characters in Ultimate, you can like grab the items, use them against them. So if you get the grenade, he does not handle his grenade being used against him at all, especially because it explodes pretty quickly. It's like he can't grab it back and throw it at you that well. And of course, if you throw a grenade near point blank and it's yours, it doesn't hit you. So honestly, being very aggressive when you see him doing this is a huge part of the matchup. Whether it's aerials, dash attacks, maybe like a jab, like whatever it is, just somehow get this and establish control of that. And if you make him want to do this, where he grenades backwards to pick it up instead, that's a free chance for you to run up and just swing at him because of all this lag. And yeah, once you do that and apply that offense, you destroy a key part of his game plan. At that point, he's kind of forced to use a lot of like just his normals, eggs, and I guess side B, which ends up just not being like a full character at that point. So you have to preempt how this character is using his specials to escape disadvantage, because if you try to like react to things like crack shooting disadvantage and this, a lot of times due to how quick they are and how little lag there is, you're gonna miss like edge guarding him. Like if he's off stage, he does like this, you try waiting for it. By the time you waited for this, he's already able to air dodge, right? Or like he's already like get back to the ledge. Even here, like it's a lot faster than you think. So you have to kind of time your spike preemptively or your 2-frame preemptively. Where if you try reacting to it, it's pretty hard to like get that, especially when you can like snap at that distance. Especially when you're juggling him too. Like you're not gonna juggle him by trying to react to that stuff. You have to read it, which is really annoying and one of the super strong things about him. With that said, his neutral isn't that great. So it's like you do have to accept you gotta play neutral a little bit more versus him because you're guessing to try and catch his options at disadvantage more often than not. Keep in mind as well, of course, he has to use specials to escape disadvantage, so like he has to. Because his airspeed is good, but when you hit someone into the air, they don't have like that initial like dash momentum carried into the air to make themselves go pretty fast in the air. So he's basically a sitting duck, and I'll show you real quick. Like I'm a sitting duck, look how slow I am in the air. It's not horrendously slow, but it's not fast enough to escape like juggle pressure or offstage pressure, assuming you have like time to get close to him. And of course the obvious advice, kill him before he gets go meter, or at least attempt to. Like it's honestly worth taking risks to kill him before he has go meter, because until he has that, he's not super threatening in a lot of positions, especially when he's trying to get out disadvantage. Alright, now for Byleth, this is a character where the best way to describe her, I think, is if you're in range for her to swing, she probably wants to swing. Because she's slow, she really wants to get into those ranges, and like she has to kind of take advantage of, hey, you're in forward air range, I gotta go for it. Or you're in air range, I gotta go for it. Meaning that versus most Byleth players, they're gonna be kind of predictable, and most of them you can kind of bait out their swings. Like, oh, they're in forward air range. They're probably gonna like jump and do like this, right? So you can just run up and like dash attack them, or like jump over them, or run back through a projectile. And because they lack mobility, you get to control these interactions. So you get to jump at her and say, you're gonna anti-air me with up tilt or up smash because I jumped to you. Let me like drift back, bait it out, and punish. Because a lot of her attacks are pretty committal as well. If you have projectiles, definitely exploit those. Make her have to shield, because her shield game outside of neutral air is not that good. I mean, she has like scary options like up smash and up B, but they're not much range. Grab is frame 6, but it's like average grab range. And also, be very aware of the cheese she has. Because this character has ways to be like, hey, you guessed wrong at the ledge, I'm gonna kill you. And a lot of Byleth players will look for things like predictable shields, predictable ledge options, you extending a little bit off stage when edge guarding her so she can just like kill you with an up B. So if you recognize that like kind of where her cheese is and you play around that, that's a big deal. And I'd say as a result, be very aware of your own habits as a player when it comes to shielding and your ledge game, because that is where Byleth player is gonna blow you up. And that's it, guys. That is Fighters Pass #1 characters, and of course the next video will be Fighters Pass 2. So I'll see y'all for that one.